Sabotage! This is Jeff.
This is David.
Hi, David!
Hi, Jeff. I've missed
We're
you.
playing Dark Souls. Yeah, I miss you too. My voice is now on the internet again.
Yay.
Don't tell anyone.
Don't tell anybody.
Dark Souls 3 is happening.
Yes.
As always. Dark
Forever.
Souls always and forever.
Yes.
For literally 6 years now.
Yes.
This is the final boss of Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
This is it. This is the soul of Cinder, which is actually the character that's on the box art. So.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Out of context, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was just, I
thought it was, just the player character.
Yeah, and it's like, no, it's
And
the
then-
soul. I mean, I guess it technically kind of is the player character.
Yeah, it is kind of the player character. But yeah, this is a good fight. It's a good last boss. It is difficult. It has a few of the things that they doubled down on in the DLC that I just like. The different phases is good. The secret health bar is less interesting. But yeah, let's get into it. This guy has so many... This video is long because... the part of the video where there's actually a video is long because this guy has like 30 moves. He has distinct phases since he sort of represents the player characters that have linked the fire over the years.
Right.
He has the move sets from popular weapon types. It just has 4 of them. This is the straight sword, R1 spam kind of mode that I am not really great at fighting, as we will see, as I will demonstrate by getting hit, for science.
Right. It's all chip damage, though, so it's fine.
Yep.
It's
oh yeah, look at that chip damage. The amount of time that he charges his two-handed attack is variable, I found. Because I was looking at the video, I was like, did I just roll at the wrong time? Like, no, it was different.
Oh, good.
From the first time I saw it. So, there's that. He has... Since he uses the same moveset, more or less, that you have, that kind of... The shorthand is the player controls. So he's got, this is what he can do. He's got... running thrust, running two-handed thrust, running one-handed overhead. He can do a backstep. He can do one-handed sweep and thrust combo, where it's R1 and then poke, so like an R1, R2 kind of thing. He's in another phase now, sorcery.
The one with the giant laser. Yeah, that's pretty.
There isn't that many soul sorceries he uses. The great sword, as you can see, is only really doing up close. I like doing this one at a distance. The main problem is the homing soul mass. The giant laser's pretty.
Yeah. Ooh.
There's the aforementioned giant laser. The laser is easy to dodge because you just run to the side.
Right.
So just straight right, straight left would be good. Little shotgun attack is kind of annoying. You have to dodge a little bit later than you think if you want to not get chip damage off of it.
Right.
But yeah, the lingering homing soul mass is the problem because even when he mode switches like he's done now to a curved sword, which we'll see later, homing mass is still there. So you need to spend some time baiting out that because look, it's still there.
Wait. Why?
I can only assume... I think that the soul mass has like a number of charges, and you have to bait all of them out. So, yeah, this is the curved sword / pyromancy. I'm even worse at this one. So this is I just kind of like back off and wait for him to pick a new mode because I'm really bad at it. This is not going to be very descriptive of that mode. The fireball's easy to dodge. The poison mist, the power within. Lingering power within, much like the other one, it will go into his other phases. So
does it hurt him like power within's supposed to?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, it's not ticking down,
bar.
So yeah.
This is the spear phase. Straightforward.
To the point.
I love the spear phase because he attacks forward for the most part. I find this the easiest to dodge. Even when he's running at you, it's, the only thing you have to learn how to dodge is the thing where he charges straight at you because all of his spear pokes are pretty much variations of, poking straight ahead. So, once you get good at that, and well, there's this one sweeping attack.
You can do the spin to win.
Yeah, the good spin to win. It's a 360. It's also rather high, so if he's a little bit above you, geographically, it can actually just go over your head.
Right.
kind of almost gives you extra invincibility frames since, you know, you die down to roll.
How did you get hit with the straight head poke? I'm confused.
It's fine. Doesn't matter. So he can, in addition to the 360, he can also do like that's a grab attack. We'll see that later.
Ooh.
He can also do like if you're like behind him, he can do kind of like a backhand, that kind of thing. I don't see that much. I think I only see it once. When you get into the Wrath of God, which we'll cover later. Back to the straight sword slash great. I think it's just more of a great sword. Yeah, it's kind of a combo. It's kind of like this sword. It's
the non-curved sword.
Yeah. Okay, staggered. Get a few free hits. All right. The upward attacks make it seems more like a great sword. Same thing with the overheads, but the pokes, you know.
Right.
Oh, hey, there's a delayed one. It takes forever. Fortunately, the delayed one is long enough that you can roll as if he was doing a different attack and then still have time to be like, oh, it's the other one.
And then roll again, yeah.
If it was any faster than that, I think it would be very annoying. Because he already has there's that kind of, the attack I was talking about that he can do with the spear, but it is different modes.
Yeah.
This one's easy to roll into it because it swings from the same direction.
Yeah, that delayed charge throws me for a loop.
Throws him for a loop, too.
Oh.
Hey, he can also do a soul spear.
The soul shotgun?
Shotgun. I don't remember what that one's called, but it's kind of like a shotgun.
The soul shotgun works for me.
Yeah, those are the other ones. I mentioned those earlier, but the soul spear it's easy to dodge. Even you can dodge it with your face. It just, takes a little bit off your health bar. Or you can dodge it with your shield. I have
the agility
a very
of your
weak,
face.
Yeah. I have a really weak crossbow, but I mean, you can also get like a good crossbow or a bow,
right,
to fight at range. I feel like the pyromancy and the sorcery modes are good for fighting at range. I mean, it seems like the strengths and weaknesses of the character builds that it's emulating are all there. Which is kind of fun. Which is why this is the good part of the boss fight. It has a crap ton of moves, but it's nothing. It's not unfamiliar.
Right.
Like as soon as you get the idea of the gimmick, you can, unlike other bosses, you can actually anticipate what it might do. Right. Well, I mean, other than the generic, there's probably an AoE burst if I get close, and if I get too far, he might jump up in the air, hover for a second, and then slam down on me, because it's, a Miyazaki game. So you can make those guesses, but you won't know for sure how many hits are in a combo, these kinds of things.
Right.
So there's the other things that I mentioned earlier, the Wrath of the Gods, and the delayed thrust, and, thrust combos like it's doing right now. But I like to stay at medium range because I want it to run at me because I find it easier to dodge away. Yeah,
that thing.
Dodge,
yeah.
And then dodge into, I guess.
And
that's the wrong direction.
you rolled into it almost.
Yeah.
You just wanted a better view of the AoE. Well, he's almost.
Yeah, of course.
Is he almost dead?
Yeah,
is he really almost? I don't think he's almost dead.
There it is.
There's the impaler.
Yeah, I want to make sure I got that on video.
Nice.
Just for the demonstration.
Oh, yeah.
I also might be playing this very safe.
Right.
Because I wanted to be over. To be fair.
Because we've been recording Dark Souls for 6 years now.
Yeah, for 6 years. Doing boss guys for 6 years.
Yeah. Yeah,
that crossbow is not great, but it is kind of fun to
just plunk
shoot
at
little
him.
bolts at him.
Yeah, you've noticed the beauty and glory of the infinite magic that is arrows and crossbows.
Really like that soul mass to go. There we go.
And it's
I feel
back.
like I was at it. It's back again. All right.
Yep.
Still want it to go away before I commit to any attacks. Okay.
Right.
All right. We're safe. I put that in massive air quotes.
Right. Well, you're almost to the part of the fight that I still liked, but I think you liked less.
Yeah, we'll get to there. It's
Yeah.
close. I got just a little bit of red left.
Yeah. He's got a puke gas, and
Here's the bonus attacks in the pyromancy phase. Yeah, he can use great combustion. I'm pretty sure if you get close, and yeah, the flips and the R1 combos from the curved sword are very fast and very wide. So I just never bothered to fight them. So I was just like, he already has a lot of moves. They're just gonna pick a few that want to get good at dodging around, and then the others can just be whatever. You're waiting out. If you're speed running, I don't know. Well, if you're speed running, you'll just disable his AI.
Right, and then just kill him.
Yeah, and then just kill him by just walking up to him because he doesn't.
Right.
Move. But if you're trying to do it faster, but not cheese him with a speed run, I don't know. Maybe you could invest some more time. You can spend some time helping out here. It's always fun to do that.
Right.
Co-op style.
People always need help with the Soul of Cinder.
Yep.
All right. Hey, his health bar is gone, but
he's about to do some anime power-up shenanigans. Yep. There we go. Serious mode health refill. He's been holding back this entire time.
He was wearing his weighted training clothing, and now he has taken it off and will enter KO Cat.
So, the last boss of Dark Souls 3 is like most of, well, unsurprisingly, it's Gwyn. So
it's Dark Souls 1 again.
Like most of Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls 3 ends with Dark Souls 1.
Mm-hmm.
More literally than others. Well, actually, a lot of the references are literal, so I don't know. That's neither here nor there. The attacks are the same as Gwyn from Dark Souls 1. So if you play Dark Souls 1, which I think a lot of people who play Dark Souls 3 have, certainly there's people that start with Dark Souls 3. It's a good game to start off.
Yeah.
It might be a little bit hard to go back to the gameplay style of previous Dark Souls.
Dark Souls 1 is much slower. Yeah.
It's certainly easy to get into the mystery and boss fighting modes, but yeah, there's a slowness and the UI is just really bad.
Yeah, it's not as good.
It's functional, it's fine.
Right.
It's sometimes hard to go back. Yeah, this is the 4-hit tantrum and fire explosion is really the only thing you need to. Well, there's one of two things that this is a much easier version of Gwyn, actually.
Right.
Even though this has this crazy fire penetrator from Demon Souls like combo, the beginning of it is the same, where he kind of goes into that stance.
Hey, classic old man jump attack.
There's the old man jump.
Yeah.
The old man jump is great because you just stay at a distance, he'll want to jump at you, and then you roll into it and you slice him. Like, that's just what you do. Now, Old Man Jump also has a one-handed version, which combos immediately into a new attack. The two-handed version does not. He has recovery after that.
Oh, something I did want to say about the boss fight. I'm pretty sure, not 100%, but pretty sure that as soon as he switches into the Gwyn phase, you can start to hear Gwyn's piano theme. In addition to the regular
100%
music.
true. You can hear it in the video, too.
Oh, good.
The Gwyn piano theme goes right on top of the Soul Cinder music.
Which is a wonderful song.
Yeah, it's good. It's a very sad, just kind of morose. Yeah, here's the other things to do: two-handed combo, one-handed combo, charge, two-handed thrust, running one. He can kick you. He can use lightning spear. He can use lightning stake, which is just in the ground,
and then lightning storm, which we did
like
see.
the lightning stake, like his son uses.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Spoilers. Wait, hold on.
Wait.
If you're at this point,
you probably
just go watch
know.
that video.
Yeah.
That's a more difficult and a little bit more satisfying fight.
Right.
Because that fight is it calls back to Gwyn without it literally being Gwyn again, which is what this is.
Yeah.
I mean, Gwyn didn't have the. I mean, he's got new attacks like this crazy lightning storm thing,
and then the 4-hit tantrum. And
the tantrum, and there is new things.
Mm-hmm. It's not literally the exact same fight, but at the same time, it's
Gwyn plus minus because more attacks but less aggressive. The two are regular Gwyn had like one or two combos that are hard to dodge. Actually, I don't think you can parry this one either, so that's probably a difference. I've never tried. I just kind of assumed that you couldn't, but hey, maybe you can.
I assume
I feel like
if
I would have heard about it.
I would have seen the...
Hold on. Wait, hold on. I don't know about that one game, but okay, that's all right.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you probably
shenanigans.
Yeah.
I would also suggest waiting and then rolling backwards and then walking backwards, just because that is very, very wide. That's the co-op killer.
Right.
People get a little too R1 spam happy, and then they just get cut up and then exploded.
Yeah,
so if you're helping someone, just back off and start throwing. Say, there's the kick.
Hey, there's the kick. There's the grab.
The grab is great because the stumble is just 3 hits.
Right.
It's great. Also, I feel like the grab is easier to dodge in this game. Maybe that's just the way that
it might just be because it's faster. Yeah. Everything moves a little bit faster and a little bit more fluidly.
Yeah, that might be the case.
Yeah.
This is the regular lightning spear finally.
Ooh.
One-handed.
Yeah.
He didn't combo that one. Can't again. He does that a lot of lunge.
Yeah. Like the first time I fought him, the tantrum super caught me because I was not expecting that.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, and when Jeff and I...
That is what it's meant to do.
Yeah, when Jeff and I play these games, unless it's just a garbage boss fight, Jeff just lets me get hit by all the attacks so that I can learn.
I mean, yeah. Sometimes it's not like I could really tell you exactly what's going on. Let's go back in time.
Don't knock Puppy Shield.
No, he only had 1 hit left now.
There we go.
There you go.
Stab him to death. There's his 1 of 2 death animations. That's when he dies on his feet.
This is where he dies on his feet again.
Aww.
Some match cuts there for you.
Yeah.
An R2 thrust, an R2 straight sword thrust through time.
Back to a lower resolution, and when we were in the same room together.
Yeah. Memories.
Memories.
Remember Dark Souls 1?
Yeah.
That's the subtitle for Dark Souls 3.
Yeah. Also Demon Souls?
Yeah, also, hey, you remember that thing too?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
You remember the other games I've worked on? I didn't work on Dark Souls 2, so don't remember that.
Yeah, forget about that one.
Are you excited that you're done?
I am very excited to be done with Dark Souls. There is 2 DLCs for Dark Souls 3.
Yep.
I don't plan on doing those at the moment.
Right. They are...
maybe we'll do something for the DLCs, maybe not.
Yeah.
But this is the end of the Dark Souls 3. These are the bosses that are in the base game. So before you have to buy expansions and whatnot. There's some good stuff in the expansions. The first expansion is very forgettable and has a boss fight that is incredibly frustrating, way too long, doesn't make sense why it's so long, and also is off. A lot of it is exported directly from the DLC of Bloodborne.
Yep.
So there's that.
It's also 3 phases.
Yes, that is the main issue. 3 phases that you have to repeat, which doesn't even make sense in the context of... Anyways.
Right.
Yep, that fight is awful. And that DLC is forgettable.
Mm-hmm.
But the other one is really good.
Yep.
Even
though it does have a kind of bad boss and then a straight garbage boss and then 2 really good bosses.
It has the other DLC does have a impressive another just multi. They double down on multi-phase, multi-health bar, multi-target fights. They just love doing that. Dark Souls is the worst when it's doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very frustrating. And it's not surprising because the actual last fight in that DLC, which is not multi-target, not multi-health bar, is so much better.
It's multi-phase, but it's the same health bar.
Multi-phase, but you get 1 health bar, so you can see how much you have left to go. You can pace yourself.
Yeah,
it's not a surprise.
That last boss fight was really good, and the boss fight we actually did last was also really fun.
Yep.
Because it was, again, a single target with a single health bar.
Yep. It requires, you have to learn the moves, get your openings. and the camera cooperates because for the DLC, the boss arenas are massive. It's great,
truly huge.
So you don't run into the problem. Well, unless you're actually just pushed up against the edge of the arena, which that can happen.
Happens, yeah.
Anyways, Dark Souls 3, the end.
Yes, it is.
The last boss is a rehash.
Yep. The first phase is a lot of fun.
First phase is great.
And I do enjoy the second phase. It's just I already fought Gwyn.
The faceless shade of previous games as the last boss is appropriate. Yep. Because there was no other driving force in the game. There's no antagonist. There's no plot. And there was no plot for a Dark Souls game.
Yeah. I mean, they added plot with the DLC.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of the DLCs. The DLCs have their own little mini plot, and it works into the overall. Makes for a satisfying conclusion, I think, of the entire lore of Dark Souls. But yeah, they're like, we don't need that in this. What's the last boss? I don't know. What do you do? I mean, you go to the fire link. That's what you do in Dark Souls. And you set yourself on fire, or you don't, and then maybe a third option.
This one has 5, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's let's say one major third option, and then some tiny variations, I guess. But
right.
So it's I don't know, you just kind of do the same thing that you do always, and isn't that clever? It's all about cycles and repetition. No, that's not clever.
No,
I love Dark Souls 2, but it was bad in Dark Souls 2 as well.
Yeah.
when the original version of Dark Souls 2, which only had one ending.
Which I liked the fact that they added in a second ending with the Scholar of the First Sin, because it wasn't kindle the bonfire, don't kindle the bonfire. It was take the place of the king or walk away and extinguish all light. In the kingdom, it's effectively the same choice, but it's not literally the same choice.
It is effectively the same choice. It's Dark Souls 2's story is also sparse, but there's actually an antagonist that an antagonist that ties in directly to the lore from Dark Souls 1. So it's not a surprise that fragments of the abyss would be running around. It's not a surprise. But.
Yeah, it's. Functionally, things being similar is fine by me as long as the execution is at least somewhat different. So, fighting Gwyn a second time would have been okay if it hadn't literally been Gwyn with an AI tweak and a couple new moves. If it had been here's, the shade of Gwyn, and he's kind of like a zombie now and only has one functional arm or something. Not, all right, fight Gwyn again. Ta-da. We talked about, I don't know if you ever put the long rant
that's
episode.
still sitting. Yeah, the rant on Dark Souls 3, which, I mean, a little bit of this is that. But
yeah, it's...
but the long complaint that started with
Yorm.
Yeah, Yorm. I was going to say the Storm Ruler specifically is kind of the jumping off point for.
That was the beginning of the end. Yeah.
Yeah, weird nostalgia ruining what could be new experiences.
Right.
So.
It's the thing that while I don't enjoy playing Bloodborne, there's a lot about the game mechanically that I don't really like. On top of I love the setting, but playing the game in that setting freaks me out the same way horror games do. So it's not the most fun. But it was a completely stylistically different thing. Yeah, you had healing items and whatnot, but they tweaked everything just enough to where it was a completely different new thing. I was like, this is great. I don't like it, but I think it's great, and I'm glad that other people like it, and I think it's good. And Dark Souls 2 was all right, we took Dark Souls 1, we've tweaked it, we've changed it, we've added, we've subtracted, we're going to try something new.
We made literally every gameplay part of the game better.
And then Dark Souls 3 was let's just do Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls. Let's make it a love letter to those two games I worked on.
Yeah, those things that I made a while ago. Also, I really like Bloodborne because I just got done working on that. We'll put some of Bloodborne in here too. We'll copy paste some of the moves from the bosses. Let's see. We'll take a few of these moves. We'll put them in the
Abyss Watchers.
Yeah, Abyss Watchers. I was going to say Old Hunters, but that's Bloodborne.
That's
so we'll
still
put them into the
Bloodborne.
Abyss Watchers. We'll make them look like Old Hunters. We'll take some of the other moves from the DLC boss, which and then we'll paste it onto a character that looks an awful lot like that DLC boss, and we'll put it in our DLC too, and we'll make the phases last forever, and we'll have health bars for days.
Yeah, it's when we made that rant, the DLC wasn't out yet, was it?
I guess not.
Yeah,
like the DLC goes a long way into making improvements. There's like
the boss fights are bad, but
yeah, some of the boss fights are bad.
Some of them I should stress. Some of them are really good.
The second DLC is great. Like going into the Dread Keep, it makes sense that they're going back to previous things because they've described the Dread Keep as being a massive collection of like the end of all civilizations being piled up on top of each other.
Right.
So when you go back to, familiar locations from previous areas, it's like, oh, that makes sense. That's fine. There's a reason for that instead of just, lol, Anor Londo, whatever.
The second DLC references Dark Souls 2 and is better. Coincidence? I think not.
Think about it.
Think about it.
Remember in Dark Souls 2 how I'm going to talk about Dark Souls 2 because I like it a lot.
That's great.
How you could extinguish the enemies in an area if you wanted to. Giving the player the choice to do that should they want to, but also limiting their grinding potential. They're like, wait, what if you just want to grind for something? I'm like, that's not necessarily fun, but hey, maybe you want to do it. Why don't we introduce this novel item called a bonfire aesthetic, which allows you to customize your New Game Plus difficulty experience granularly. You can resurrect enemies, but they're going to be harder. You can resurrect bosses, so you can fight them again.
But they'll be harder.
They'll be harder. You can resurrect, like if you want to do like PvP in an area for some reason, you're like, oh, I want to invade someone in this area. I want to be invaded. I guess that's the one. If you want to be invaded, and you're like, oh, you have to have the boss be alive. Like, well, you beat the boss, too bad. Beat the whole game and start over.
Right.
Unless some designer who is not Miyazaki, who's trying to improve upon the formula established in the previous game, decides that a great and novel way to do that would be this bonfire aesthetic. There are numerous items in that game that fit into those great design spaces that you didn't even know were there. And all of it's reverted. All of it's reverted in Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
They copy-pasted Bloodborne speed without taking into account, that there's other playstyles in Dark Souls.
Yeah, like a shield or other thing. Like it's also just a lot of the changes that they made in Dark Souls 2. They made them real decisions. So that it wasn't just like, well, clearly this is the best way to do this. Let's go ahead and do that. Now they did make the bashing damage exponentially better for a lot of enemies in the game than your other types of damage, but at the same time you could just roll magic and just roll through the place if you just want things to be easy anyway. So like Extra Credit actually did an episode about how Dark Souls 2 did difficulty perfectly because you controlled how the difficulty works in Dark Souls 2 based on what builds you decided to pick.
I mean that is true to a certain extent for all the Dark Souls games.
Except in Dark Souls 3, they punish you for trying to do magic. You discovered this. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't a surprise because that was the direction that Dark Souls 1 went.
Right.
It's PvE being gutted by PvP over and over again until like spells were useless. You'd have lightning spear, and it was basically just like
No, Dark Souls 2 did that, and you said Dark Souls 1, but that's Dark Souls...
No, Dark Souls 1 also,
Right, but Dark Souls 2 very much gimped a lot of the PvE
they both suffered
stuff.
from that,
And part of it stemmed from, Demon Souls. Magic was so grossly overpowered, but Like, there's nothing wrong with leaving that in your game if people want to use that to play easy mode. Like,
yeah,
that's
they
fine.
did. And Dark Souls 2 added a lot of the... Dark Souls 1's DLC did add an arena, but they did improve upon it on Dark Souls 2. And actually, that is one of the things that they did improve in Dark Souls 3. If you
the
are
arena,
into,
yeah,
like weird PvP stuff where you like go into these basically deathmatch arenas, and
yeah,
you can have a grand old time.
Yeah, they made it a lot better.
Yeah, they broke it off into its own spot, actually make the areas, kind of places you want to wander around in. And then whatever, people can do their undead matches or whatever.
Right.
That's fine. They can have their fun doing that. I have no interest in PvP because I feel like this is pretty
it's pretty established at this point.
The novelty of being invaded is... It can still be kind of amusing, but it's more of an annoyance after doing it for so long than anything else.
Right.
It's like the idea is still very strong, and like it's something that should be carried forward into different types of games, maybe interpreted differently.
Right.
Like that sense of danger is good, and also it's not even sense of danger, it's uncertainty.
Right.
You can, because like the best part is is this guy gonna fight me? Are we gonna fight? Or we're not fighting. I'm just gonna go continue on, and like follows you around. And, like, are we fighting yet? No, we're not fighting. And strips naked, drops an item, jumps off the cliff.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, thanks.
I've been on both sides of that equation.
Yeah. Well, I think back to Dark Souls 1 when you and Justin and I did the barrel game.
Yeah, good times.
And like that, you can still do that in Dark Souls 3, but like every time we got invaded in Dark Souls 3, almost like there were a couple times, the guy got naked and then dropped an item and then jumped off a cliff. Like that happened a couple times. As is tradition. But most of the time it was just like somebody showed up, they would like poke at us and then run away into an area full of enemies we had to eventually go to. It was like, all right, come get me. It's like, no.
We'll be there eventually. It's fine.
Or it's or the time where it's just like,
it's like we're co-oping. Yeah.
Yeah. The time where it's like, you know what? No. And I just flung myself off a cliff. I was like, I'm not dealing with this.
I mean, that's a legitimate response too. But yeah, it's like we're co-oping. It's like it's 2v1. I guess you could run away and wait for maybe someone to come in, or you can do pokes, but it's going to be boring for everyone.
Yeah, it's
honestly.
boring
like,
and long.
If you try and just attack directly, then it's Dark Souls 3, so we just like stand in front of you and mash R1.
Yep.
So, like,
and because we both have straight swords, we win.
Yeah, we're using straight swords. Well, I like straight swords, but also because they're the best.
Yeah.
This is like one of the reasons I enjoyed Bloodborne and you didn't, is because like I love having a Dexy, rolly, dodgy character. So I was like, oh, Bloodborne's great. And you're like, I don't like that. I'm like, okay, Bloodborne probably not for you.
I mean, I like high dex characters that are about rolling and dodging. The pace of the game was increased a lot, and they encouraged you to get hit and hit people while you got hit so that you could, rally and get your health back. And like that's not how I prefer to play these games. I prefer to be a lot more methodical, block, hit, or when I get really comfortable with a system, run in and just wait in and kill everybody. But I wasn't going to get comfortable with Bloodborne, partially because now this is something I don't know if we've talked too much about on our channel, which would be weird because we've been doing this for like 7 years now.
We probably have talked at length about whatever you're going to say, but still, go on.
So spatial awareness for me, like just naturally understanding geographically, spatial awareness is not the right term, naturally understanding geographically where my character is versus where he needs to be. And this is me in real life too. Like if I am at point A and I need to get
situational awareness.
No, it's not situational. It's literally like my place in comparison to the other places I've been.
Okay.
Like,
I think that's spatial awareness.
Is that spatial? I thought spatial was more just immediate. Anyway, like I am awful at that. Like I have a really hard time with that kind of stuff, which it's a testament to why Dark Souls, I was really able to get used to Dark Souls 1 because I enjoyed exploring that world so much. And all of it made a lot of cohesive sense to me in that regard, even though it took me a long time to figure out where stuff was. Dark Souls 2, like, because you could teleport from the get-go, that it alleviated a lot of the issues I had with everything. Mm-hmm. Bloodborne, everything looked the same as far as color palette goes. So my brain... That is
a problem with Bloodborne.
Yeah, my brain had a huge, huge problem differentiating, like, where things were. I have watched, like, 5 playthroughs of Bloodborne now, like, methodical, going through everything. I still could not, like, navigate any of the areas at all.
Yeah, that's probably one of the things I like least about Bloodborne is the muted monochromatic sameness of the environments. Everything is gray and brown in that entire game. And even the fantastical locations that you think would have some sort of change, like even like the lake, it's kind of just gray.
Right.
Like
the castle's
forest,
good.
It's gray. The castle's good. A little bit of white instead of gray.
Blue. Some blue.
So a little tiny bit of blue.
Yeah.
But even like the nightmare, it's just gray.
Gray.
It's a gray area.
I should stress, like, the whole spatial awareness thing, like, that's a David thing. That's a this is my problem kind of thing. I know that, like, a muted color palette doesn't mean that for everybody who experiences it they have a hard time navigating it. For me, I need very specific delineations, which is why, like, I can remember in Dark Souls 1 the forested areas versus the Undead Burg versus Anor Londo versus New Londo, because there was not a drastic shift in color palette between all of them necessarily, but enough of one to where my brain was able to go, okay, this is where this is, where it's blue and black. This one is gray and brown. That's where this is. And
yeah, and even there's more variety with, like, hey, there's lava here. Everything's red. Oh, cool.
Yay.
A new color.
Except for
the forest is misty, but the forest is misty, but there's some green here. A little bit. Yeah, good times. I like Dark Souls 1.
Dark Souls 1's really good.
I like Dark Souls 2's gameplay over all of the rest of them. The improvements that were made there.
Yeah, I will agree with you on that.
I like Bloodborne's speed and lore.
The lore in Bloodborne is great.
And Dark Souls 3 is a game. It's a video game, I guess.
It's good. It's a good game.
Yeah, it is a good ass video game.
It is a good game that I don't like as much as I could have. I shouldn't say should have. It's a game that I don't like as much as I could have because I played Dark Souls 1 as much as I did, and then I played Dark Souls 2 as much as I did. And as you said, it went 1, a vast improvement to 2, and then a major regression to 3. And they changed things and added things and tried to vary some stuff up, but they're just like, yeah, we're gonna ignore the improvements.
In Dark Souls 2, you can run straight to a covenant that makes everything harder and eventually gives you the power to punch people with titan fists.
Yep.
Like, that kind of thing is just not a thing that is in 3.
Nope.
You just can't do that. Like, there's like 4 or 5 variations of invade a world and have a slightly different color to your character, so you can get a trinket to do something. Get an achievement, I guess.
And then there's like in Dark Souls 1 with Siegmeyer, there were some things you had to do in an order that wasn't necessarily the most intuitive always to get to the end of his storyline, but it was still fine.
An obliqueness that is the problem with all of From Software, I think. But
well, Dark Souls 2, like, it was fine. I'm pretty sure I saw all the content in that game that there was to see as far as, quests with people goes, and I didn't have to use a guide. I just kind of explored as I was going to explore and found everything.
I definitely had to use a guide. There's what's her name from Mira appears in some side locations.
Let's see.
Lucille? No,
not
Lucatiel.
Lucatiel. There it is.
Yeah, Lucatiel from Mira. Yeah, she appears in some weird places, and you have to talk to her there. But that's fine. But whatever, that's Dark Souls. It's fine.
Well, it's just like Dark Souls 1 had a little bit of that. Dark Souls 2 had a little bit of that. Dark Souls 3, it was just like, read a guide. Just read a guide.
Really, you really just need to read a guide to... It's like, I was in Firelink, and there was a lady there, and then you never see her again. Like, what? Who was that? What?
And she was really mad at me, and I don't know why.
I was like, she was mad, and then she was gone. And then, like, sometimes there's a guy there that's sad. It's like, that's not unusual, all things considered.
And then I went to talk to the blacksmith just to do something. I was jamming A like I normally do, and I missed, like, 9 text boxes.
Or, like, I wish I could get some new spells, but the sorcerer disappeared. I wonder why he disappeared. Oh, well, because you fought the
Crystal Sage.
Their name, the Crystal Sage, but the I keep forgetting the freaking name.
Which one?
The hunters.
The Abyss Watchers.
Yep. Again, they're not old hunters. That's just what they look like and act like.
Mm-hmm.
The Abyss Watchers, yes. Like, oh, you beat the Abyss Watchers? Oh, well, all of the quests have updated, and if you haven't done a thing, then they leave permanently. Like, okay, cool.
Great, thanks.
That's awesome.
Good, great, thanks.
Blurg! The end. Dark Souls.
All right, so real quick, Dark Souls. Okay, let's talk about what's next. Not Dark Souls 4. If Dark Souls 4 comes out, we're not promising that we're going to do any boss guides. Whatever From Software does next, maybe we'll do boss guides. Maybe we'll just do a Let's Play and be done with it.
That's the response I had to Bloodborne. So, Dark Souls 3, it's the last Dark Souls. It seemed like fitting, appropriate to do it.
Right.
But I mean, whatever. We're doing boss guides for Neo because it's a Dark Souls like.
Well, you also enjoyed it so much that you recorded all of them twice.
I was like, man, this game is really good. I like the variation on a theme that they're scatting with.
Yeah. All right. So I just wanted to get that out there. Like, we have been doing Dark Souls content for
very long time,
6 years. So if they do, for whatever reason, come up with a Dark Souls 4. No guarantees.
Bloodborne 2 or Demon Souls 2 or whatever.
Whatever.
Or,
maybe we'll do stuff. Maybe we won't. We'll just leave that on the side. 6 years is a long time for any project.
Yeah. Well, whatever. If the game is impressive enough, then whatever. I don't mind playing good games.
Yeah, we might make content for it. I'm not gonna just say, all right, we're gonna do a boss guide for all the bosses, because down that road leads madness.
Yeah. Also, I want to reiterate, Dark Souls 3 is a good game.
It is a good game. I enjoyed it.
These complaints are microscopic, maybe, in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
They're magnified because of the history of the series. But.
Right. Because we really... It's like you saw somebody going from an A to an A+, and you're like, well, what's higher than an A+? An A double plus? An S rank? Are we going to get an S rank game? And then it went back to an A. And you're like, oh.
Maybe B+, maybe.
I'm going to say it was still mostly executed really well. It's just like they regressed in a lot of ways. So I'd say it went from an A to an A+ to an A. Maybe you say a B+, you're a harder grader than I am.
I don't know. Dark Souls 1 is good, but Dark Souls 1 had some problematic copy-paste bosses and endgame, so...
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of it was made up for in the DLC. I'm going to stop talking now because I have to edit this video later and it's so long.
Okay, real quick. If you like the content that we make, if you could go to Patreon and give us some money every month and support us there, that would be wonderful. It helps us do this. If monthly giving isn't something you can do, you can go to PayPal and give us a tip. That's also wonderful. Thank you very much. If you can't do that, word of mouth is great. Thank you.
Dark Souls.
Dark Souls.